Look at your garden. If you see a patch of land that requires constant back-breaking labor, expensive fertilizers, and a never-ending battle against pests, you are looking at it through the lens of industrial failure. Most modern gardeners are trapped in a cycle of low input, low output, or high input, mediocre output. But there is a third way, the way of the master gardener. The title, 3 times your productivity, isn't a marketing gimmick. It is a mathematical reality based on the laws of biological efficiency. To triple your harvest without spending an extra dime, we have to change the fundamental operating system of your garden. We aren't just planting seeds, we are managing energy, light, and biology. In the philosophy of John Seymour, the pioneer of self-sufficiency, a garden is not a factory. It is a living organism. When you treat a factory poorly, it breaks down. When you treat an organism correctly, it multiplies. Today, we are going to dismantle the linear row myth, the idea that plants should be lined up like soldiers with bare dirt in between. This is the greatest waste of space in human history. Instead, we are moving toward volume gardening. We are going to fill every cubic inch of your garden with life, from 6 feet underground to 10 feet in the air. Verticality. The sky is your soil. The first dimension of tripling your yield is the vertical frontier. Imagine your garden plot is 10 square meters. In a traditional setup, you have 10 square meters of growing surface. But the moment you introduce a trellis, an A-frame, or a simple string system, that 10 square meters of land suddenly supports 30 square meters of leaf surface area. Why does this matter? Because photosynthesis is the engine of productivity. Leaves are solar panels. By going vertical, you are stacking solar panels in layers. Take the humble cucumber or the heavy winter squash. When left to crawl on the ground, a single plant can occupy 4 square meters. It shades out everything else. Its fruits hide under leaves and rot, and pests like slugs have a feast. Now, lift that plant. Build a simple $0 trellis using fallen branches, old bamboo, or even discarded construction mesh. By guiding that squash upward, you reclaim those 4 square meters of soil. Now, beneath that canopy of squash leaves, you have a protected, shaded microclimate. Here, you can plant high-value, shade-loving crops like spinach, arugula, or gourmet lettuces that would otherwise bolt and die in the direct summer sun. This is the vertical multiplier. You get the squash from the air and the greens from the ground. You have doubled your yield on the exact same coordinate of the earth. But we don't stop there. Vertical gardening also manipulates air drainage. By lifting crops off the ground, you increase airflow, which prevents powdery mildew and blight, the 2 biggest thieves of garden productivity. A healthy plant produces 3 times more than a struggling, diseased one. The mosaic of intercropping and stacked layers. The second pillar of our 3X strategy is biological synergy, or what Seymour called the living mosaic. In nature, you never see a monoculture. You never see a forest that is only oak trees with bare dirt underneath. Nature abhors a vacuum. To triple your productivity, you must practice succession and interaction. Let's look at the 3 sisters method, an ancient wisdom that we can modernize. We plant corn, the structure, beans, the nitrogen fixer, and squash, the ground cover. But we can take this further. Imagine a multi-tiered bed. In the center, we have a heavy feeder like tomatoes. Surrounding the tomatoes, we plant basil. Why? Because the scent of basil confuses the pests that seek out tomatoes, and the basil thrives in the partial shade provided by the tomato's lower limbs. Around the edge of the bed, we sow carrots. Carrots have deep taproots that break up the soil, creating macropores that allow water to reach the tomato roots more effectively. By planting these 3 together, you aren't just saving space, you are creating a mutual support society. The basil protects the tomato shades the basil, and the carrots prepare the soil for both. When you harvest, you aren't just picking tomatoes, you are picking a salad. Furthermore, we must master time stacking. This is the art of gapping your harvests so the soil is never unemployed. The moment you harvest your early spring peas, you should already have transplant seedlings of peppers ready to go into those exact holes. The pea roots, left in the ground to rot, provide a slow-release nitrogen hit for the incoming peppers. This relay race ensures that your garden is producing at 100% capacity from the first thaw of spring to the first hard frost of winter. If your soil is bare for even 1 week, you are losing productivity. The winter reset, strategic pruning. Many gardeners think productivity is about growth, but sometimes productivity is about strategic death. To triple your fruit yield, you must become a master of the shears. In the dead of winter, what we call the quiet month of January, the garden's energy is pulled back into the roots and the core of the stems. This is the time for the great architecture. When you prune a fruit tree or a perennial bush, you aren't hurting it, you are focusing it. A tree with too many branches is like a business with too many departments and no clear goal. It spreads its sap too thin. By removing the crossing branches, the dead wood, and the water sprouts, those vertical shoots that suck energy but never fruit, you are telling the tree, put all your resources into these 10 primary buds. The result? Instead of 100 tiny, sour apples, you get 150 large, sweet, nutrient-dense apples. The total biomass of the fruit triples because the tree is no longer wasting energy maintaining unnecessary wood, soil, the living battery, mulching, and microbes. We now come to the most important secret of the 3X garden. Everything we have discussed, the climbing vines, the layered beds, the pruned trees, is powered by the soil. If your soil is weak, your garden is a zombie garden, dead on the inside, barely held together by chemical fertilizers. To triple productivity, you must stop feeding the plants and start feeding the soil. In the Seymour garden, we use the mulch shield. Bare soil is an open wound. When sunlight hits bare soil, it sterilizes the surface, killing the beneficial microbes and fungi that are responsible for transporting nutrients to your plants. When rain hits bare soil, it compacts it, turning your garden into a brick. You must cover your soil with a thick layer of organic waste, straw, wood chips, shredded leaves, or even grass clippings. This mulch acts as a biological battery. Beneath that layer, a miracle happens. The moisture levels remain constant. This is crucial. When soil moisture fluctuates, plants get stress-stunted. A stressed plant stops growing for days at a time to protect itself. By mulching, you eliminate that stress. Your plants grow 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, at peak velocity. Furthermore, as that mulch breaks down, it invites the underground labor force. Earthworms. Earthworms are the world's best tillers and fertilizer spreaders, and they work for free. They consume the mulch and turn it into castings, the most potent fertilizer on Earth. A garden with a high worm population will naturally produce 3 times more than a garden without them, simply because the root zone is being constantly aerated and fertilized from within. You aren't just gardening, you are ranching billions of microbes. Zero-cost inputs, closing the loop. The final piece of the 3X puzzle is resource sovereignty. To be truly productive, your garden must be a closed loop. If you have to go to the store to buy bags of fertilizer to keep your garden alive, you haven't built a productive system, you've built a consumption habit. Tripling your productivity means capturing every waste stream on your property. Kitchen scraps. These are not trash. They are concentrated nitrogen and minerals. Cardboard. This is not recycling. It is carbon-rich brown material for your soil. Weeds. Before they go to seed, weeds are dynamic accumulators. Their deep roots pull minerals from the subsoil that your vegetables can't reach. Chop them down and leave them on the surface to return those minerals to the topsoil. Consider the compost tea method. Take a handful of finished compost, or even some healthy forest soil, soak it in a bucket of water with a spoonful of molasses, and let it bubble. You are multiplying the bacteria. When you water your garden with this liquid gold, you are inoculating your plants with a biological defense shield. This prevents disease, increases nutrient uptake, and, you guessed it, triples the speed of growth. The 3X garden is an observant garden. It is a place where the gardener spends 80% of their time watching and 20% of their time working. You watch the way the sun moves across the yard in July. You watch which plants the bees visit first. You watch how the water flows during a rainstorm. Final summary: the 3X lifestyle. Let us recap the blueprint for your 3X productivity transformation. Verticality. Claim the air. Stop gardening in 2 dimensions and start building skyscrapers of food. Density. Eliminate bare soil. Use intercropping and succession planting to ensure every inch of dirt is working for you every day of the year. Focus. Use strategic pruning to direct the life force of your plants into the harvest, not the waste. Protection. Use mulch to charge your soil's battery and protect your underground labor force. Integration. Close the loop. Turn your waste into the fuel for next year's abundance. Tripling your garden's productivity is not an act of magic. It is an act of alignment. When you align your garden with the way nature already wants to work, the results are staggering. You will find yourself with more food than you can eat, more health than you've ever felt, and a deeper connection to the land beneath your feet. The 3X harvest doesn't come from a bottle. It comes from your design. It comes from your vision. It comes from the realization that even the smallest backyard is a sleeping giant of abundance. Now, put down the catalog, pick up your mulch, and go wake up your garden. The harvest of a lifetime is only 1 season away.